Hi everyone, my name is Bryson Deal, and my long-term project was the strength of hot metal because I'm interested in blacksmithing and wanted to know more about the metal that they're using or just how their tools can affect it. So my question was, how does the number of heating and bending cycles affect the strength of the metal? So just like if you bend the metal over and over again after you heat it to a temperature, does that affect the strength of it bending easier? And so this picture is me using a torch to just heat the metal, which is rebar. That's the metal that I'm using. And then there's some weights on the other side just to see how it bends. So my claim, or what I think, is just that the more cycles of heating and bending will weaken the metal. And this is because I think the particles will spread apart when bent over and over in the rebar. So just that they'll spread apart and they'll be easier to bend. So the tools I used were rebar, weights, a tape measure, vise, safety glasses, an infrared thermometer, which is like the little like yellow gun thing, and then it's a matte gas torch, a stopwatch, a notebook, and then just like some writing tools, just a Sharpie and a pencil there. So the process was I put 20 pounds on a piece of rebar, and then I marked 10 inches on the metal just so I was heating it in the right place, so I know where to put the flame. And then next I heated up the piece of rebar until the 20-pound weights fell off, just so I knew like how much the rebar bent, and then so the weights would hopefully all fall off at the same angle. And lastly, I took the temperature with an infrared thermometer and wrote down the temperature in my notebook. This is just it happening in action. So there the weights fell off, and that's just how I knew when the bend was enough. And so we quickly took the temperature with that infrared thermometer that was shown. And then so this is a picture of me writing down my data. And then so over here is just like you can see like my bar 1 are its first heating and then its second heating and all along. But you can kind of see how the third and fourth heatings were really high temperatures that they would bend at. So that was interesting. So the bending point of rebar at different temperatures, and just the blue bars, you can see that they kind of have a pattern, but you can see on the third and fourth heatings, their temperatures are really high. So just in the bar 3 and bar 4, they weren't quite the highest, but on their in the first heating, bar 3 and bar 4, those were their highest. So again, just how it was with the last one, the blue bar went up, but this is just another way of looking at it, how this first heating just kind of went up. But then you can see really well the third and fourth heatings here, how just their temperatures were just higher than the other ones were, which is kind of hard to understand, but interesting in the same way. So my conclusion is the graph does not really show any pattern, and that no matter how many times you reheat and rebend the rebar, the strength does not change at all. It may weaken it a little bit, but it doesn't really strengthen it or weaken it all that much. So it was an interesting experience. So thank you for listening to my slideshow, and I hope that you learned something about blacksmithing or rebar in general. So thank you.